at the linear case, we're going to move on to the exponential case. And I'm going to kind of get a little sneaky here. See this little rectangle? I'm going to select that and do a Command C to copy it. I'm going to go into exponential and Command V. Now, this is not linear, it's exponential. So the key is just basically updating based off of previous work, right? Now, I still have this this assignment up because I wanted to kind of refresh our memories on this. So it was age in years and then the log of the income. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to update this so that instead of it being just the original y values, I'm going to make it the log of the original y values, all right? So for that title, you may want to use the concatenate option. So concatenate, or you could just retype the words, but I'm going to do log of, close it up, throw a comma in there, and whatever that original title is would get concatenated with the log of. So it puts the log of in front, right? So log of low temperature for the particular zip code. You may want to change this a little bit so that you can, let's see, where am I looking? Format, do like wrapping, for example. So it looks a little nicer. I don't know, you could play around with the aesthetics. Maybe you center the, well, really everything in the data columns, however you want to do it, as long as I'll say visually appealing. It doesn't even have to be that drastic. It's just more like readable, you know? So the more organized it is, the easier it's going to be to read it. All right, now I actually have to take the log of each of these values. All right, so it's log 10 of the value in C2, drag it on down the line. All right, so it updates, well, pretty much updates everything because we're finding the slope of everything in those two columns. Y-intercept, the slope, the r-squared value. So this is all updated automatically for you, all right? The residuals, all right, it's still referencing these values here, difference between B3 and C3, and so on down the line. So that got updated, right? For whatever reason, and I never really understand why sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You'll notice that that really nice looking graph that we came up with for the residual plot isn't there anymore. Like, so when it copied it, it doesn't copy the graphs over. So it's kind of annoying. If I select the copy everything, you would think that it would copy everything. A way around that would be to duplicate the page and then just rename it as exponential, which is definitely an option. So insert, chart. Again, we can get rid of the title. That's not necessary. Move this over a little bit again. And I'm not seeing a pattern in the residual plot, so I, again, can make the claim that it's a, oh, sorry, I already have it as no. The model is likely appropriate. And again, if you have to imagine that there's a pattern there, there's no pattern there. All right, so we have a weaker r-squared value, but we still have a kind of a randomly distributed scatter plot, residual plot. So this should be good to go. But if you're deciding, right, is it linear, is it exponential, now you have a basis of comparison. I'm more likely to go with linear than exponential, all right? So that's the idea there. Let me show you what I mean by duplicating. Let me get rid of quadratic, for example. Delete. So if I take my exponential and do a little drop down, duplicate, rename, so now I'll rename it exponential. Already exists. I could have, oh, no, sorry, not exponential, quadratic. That'll happen if you try to rename it into something that's already named. All right. So then what I can do here is use my technique for quadratics. I mean, you can copy paste out of this if you want, but really it's just the idea of what did I do in this activity? Well, I took the square root of the y values. So let's do sqrt of, and instead of the log base 10, we'll do sqrt for all data. Lock it in, drag it on down the line. And at this point, everything really should update along with it. So I got my r squared value, I got my slope, I got my residuals, I got my residual plot where I don't see a pattern anymore. All right, so we're in good shape there. All right, so we can do the same thing with logarithmic. All right, the only difference with logarithmic is that we manipulate the x variables instead, x value instead of the y values. So I'll take care of that one in the next video.